the democracy and development in India. The second part of the democracy and development in India, and which will cover the unit 19 to 27, and it is what stop yes. So it will we will cover the unit 19 to 27 in the three classes. So today we will discuss the one part of this book 2, that is unit 29, unit 19, 20 and 21. So unit 19 contains the human development, health, education and social security. Unit 20, which will cover gender and development. Unit 21, that is regional imbalances. My dear friends, so before I step into the topics or unit 19 to 21, I want to introduce you regarding the democracy and development in India, the second part, and we have already discussed the part 1, the book 1. So, as you understand, democracy and development are complementary to each other. Since independence, India introduced measures to introduce development in different areas of life, such as health, education, and social security. These together came to be known as human development. The measures we introduced by the state and the national and the regional levels, the efforts were also made to help the disadvantaged groups by the affirmative actions. The disadvantages were identified on the basis of a social and economic backwardness on the communities and regional imbalances. Thus, there has been a general trend towards the development in the Indian country. However, the impact of these measures have not been uniform across the country, with different regions and sectors showing different levels of development. The development policies of the state have been affected by external and internal factors. The focus of the development policies of the state, therefore, has been changing in the light of the effects on the state. Recently, genders have also been a focal point in the development policy. My dear student, try to give attention that why I am just introducing this particular section of part 2 in a short form. So to acknowledge you the what is the topics and what was the contents of this particular MPS-3 second part. So again, that I want to say India's developmental strategy has shifted gear from the state monopoly to liberalization and privatization in the last 3 decades. As a consequence, questions regarding the role of the state, market, and the societal forces have assumed new importance. Not only this much, the preferential treatment to some regions, out of which some of the basis of the potential for development, and some on the basis of their backwardness has raised the problems of the regional imbalances. The special treatment given to the Green Revolution areas like Punjab and Maharashtra has resulted in the neglect of their or neglect other areas, creating regional imbalances and unsatisfactory development of the Northeast or several other backward areas of the country. So this has been included in this particular that MPS-3 part 2. Furthermore, even the impact of development on the democratic rights of women, Dalits, and backward class have received an increased attention in the past few decades. These have also exposed the weakness of the proposition that the developmental model. Besides, the ethnicity mobilization on the lines of caste, religion, language, culture, region, etc. has posed new challenges to the democracy and the development in India. These have been compounded by the globalization, which is accompanied by the assumed erosion in the credibility of the state on the one hand, and the rise of new agencies like the market, civil society, and the decentralization on the other side. My dear friends, the second part of the democracy and development deals with the issues in a development and the challenges which the democracy and the development face in India. The deep understanding of the Indian democracy involves the analysis of emergent issues and the ongoing challenges it faces. The topic included in part 2 acquaints the student with the challenges of economic reforms and globalization, religious politics, ethnicity, and nation states. So, with this, so we'll start the categorically the unit wise, that is article that unit 19, which contains human development, and that human development includes health, education, and the social security. My dear friends, you see, if the human development will not occur, so the people cannot live peaceably with dignity and freedom. So in the last class, we have already discussed regarding the poverty, how the poverty is not solved through income, etc. But unit 19, that human development, it contains health, education, and social security. What this particular topic will give us knowledge. Now it will discuss. This unit of topic introduces the student to the concept of human development, different approaches to the study of human development, and the indices to measure it. It also explains the students as to how the concept of the human development is different from its statistical meaning, explained in terms of indices of human entitlements or the capabilities such as health, education, and social security. It also includes that there has been development in the country, but it has been uneven in different states of the country, what I told you just a few times earlier that uneven that difference. Friends, human development. What is human development? You see, human development is defined as the process of enlarging people's freedoms and opportunities and improving their well-being. My dear students, you may follow your study material, but I have just prepared it just in a nutshell how the student will understand the particular meaning of human development. Human development is about the real freedom. Ordinary for the ordinary people have decided to decide who to be, what to do, and how to live. My dear students, you are requested to keep your audio video in mute position. Please, you should not disturb me. And how to live. The human development concept was developed by economists, that is Pakistan economists, that is Mehboob ul Haq. In other words, human development is a process of enlarging people's choices. The most critical of these wide-ranging choices are to live a long and healthy life. दीर्घ एवं सुस्थ जीवन यापन केमिति करा जाय परिबो. To be educated and to have access to resources needed for a decent standard of living. Additional choices include political freedom, guaranteed human rights, and personal self-respect. All these are the necessary ingredients of human development. My dear student, you see why it is important. Why should we study the human development? You see, the human development is important. The human development is about giving people more freedom and opportunities to live the value. Many other experts are important to, especially in helping to create the right conditions for human development. Such as right condition कौन? Now, such as health, education, social security, environmental sustainability, or equality between men and women. For this, human development concept should be studied, should be discussed, should be analyzed among the students. Then, that what are the indicators of human development? Human development indicator, which is called in the short form HDI, published annually by the United Nations Development Program, UNDP. The Human Development Indicator, the published annually by the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, provides broad measures of well-being worldwide. There are three data dimensions such as life expectancy, education, and purchasing power parity. The UNDP, it is for all the states in the world, not for India or a particular nation. This human development indicators, because it is prepared and also published by the UNDP. The UNDP provides the data dimension, that is life expectancy at birth. Life expectancy kete haba darkar, mean years of schooling year केते हवा दरकार, expected years of schooling केते वर्षरे गोटे पिला स्कूल को जीवा दरकार, gross national income per capita, gross national income per capita rank minus human development index rank and non-income human development index. All these things are included the human development indicators. It is prepared and published by the United Nations organization, a branch that is called the United Nations Development Program, UNDP. Now we will go through the human development reports. Human development reports. Please, my dear students, try to keep your audio video in mute position. At the world level, human development reports. Your course also included the human development reports. What is human development reports? At the world level, the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, is the apex body to prepare a human development report. ଜାତିସଂଘର ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଇଏ ହେଉଛି ସର୍ବୋଚ୍ଚ ସଂସ୍ଥା ଯିଏକି ମାନବିକ ବିକାଶର ଗୋଟେ ତଥ୍ୟ ବିବରଣୀ ବାର୍ଷିକ ସେ ପ୍ରକାଶ କରେ। To prepare a human development report for all the countries, ସବୁ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ରର ପ୍ରତିନିଧି ହେଇକି ସେ କ'ଣ କରେ ନା ପ୍ରକାଶ କରେ। ତେଣୁ 1990 ମସିହାରୁ 2019 ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଯଦି ଆମେ ଦେଖନ୍ତି ତାହେଲେ ହ୍ୟୁମାନ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ରିପୋର୍ଟରେ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ରଙ୍କର ସ୍ଥିତି କ'ଣ ଏବଂ ସେଥିରେ ଭାରତର ସ୍ଥିତି ମଧ୍ୟ କ'ଣ। The 1990 report was the first endeavor in this direction. এই ଯୋଉ ହ୍ୟୁମାନ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ରିପୋର୍ଟ ପ୍ରଥମ କରି 1990 ମସିହାରେ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା and this report that identified three essential elements of human life. ମାନବ ଜୀବନର ତିନିଟି ଦିଗକୁ ସେ ପ୍ରଥମେ ଦୃଷ୍ଟି ଦେଲା, ପରିଚିତ କରିଥିଲା human life, that is longevity, knowledge and a decent living standard. ये ତିନିଟି ଉପରେ ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱ ଦେଇ ପ୍ରଥମେ ପ୍ରକାଶ କରିଥିଲା ତାର ରିପୋର୍ଟ। And it was launched by, my dear student, you try to remember and write down the two names, those who have launched the human development report, primarily that it was launched by Pakistani economist Mehboob ul Haq. Again I am repeating that it was launched by Pakistani economist that Mehboob ul Haq and Indian Nobel laureate Amartya Sen. ତେଣୁ ଅମର୍ତ୍ୟ ସେନ ଏବଂ ପାକିସ୍ତାନ ଇକୋନୋମିଷ୍ଟ ଏ ଦୁଇ ଜଣ ହ୍ୟୁମାନ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ରିପୋର୍ଟର ଯୋଉ ପ୍ରଥମ ପଥ ପ୍ରଦର୍ଶକ ଯିଏକି ତିନୋଟି ଯୋଉ ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଦିଗ ଉପରେ ଧ୍ୟାନ ଦେଇଥିଲେ। ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା longevity, another is that knowledge and a decent standard of living. Friends, since then reports have been different themes through the human development approach. Human development approach which places people at the center of the development process. The human development report have an extensive impact, influence in the development debate worldwide. ये सारा विश्व रे किभଳି भाବରେ देश कि केते प्रकार तार डेवलप करिछि, किभଳି भाବରେ से हेल्दी, किभଳି भाବରେ सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट चिंता करिछि, all these things included in this report. The Human Development Report has an extensive impact on or influence in the development debate worldwide. सारा विश्व रे एटा गुटे तर्क हुए. They have also inspired national and regional analysis, which I hello hello
Hello, sir.
hello.
Hello.
So please keep your audio video in mute position. They have also inspired national and regional analysis, which by their nature usually address issues that are more country or regionally specific. ये बेले बेले वर्ल्ड वाइड हवा संगे संगे राष्ट्र छड़ा तथा रीजनल लेवल कथा मध्य से चिंता करता है. Next, human, in this regard, I just draw the Human Development Report. Human Development Report 2019. It was beyond income, beyond averages, beyond today. Inequality in human development in past century. In every country, many people have little prospect for better future. They are without hope, purpose, or dignity, watching from society sidelines as they see others pulling ahead to greater properties. Friends, so you can also collect from the Google that the Human Development Report from 2019 to 1990 to 2019. A series of reports are there, and what was the position of India in various times regarding the human development. Next, what is Human Development Index? Generally, index means some reports, year-wise reports. The Human Development Index, Human Development Index is a summary measure of average achievement in key dimensions of human development. That is, a long and healthy life, being knowledgeable, and have a decent standard of living. The Human Development Index, HDI, is the geometric mean of normalized indices for each of the three dimensions. It is a statistic composite index of life expectancy, education, and per capita income indicators. गोटे राष्ट्र लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी लोक मानकर केते शिक्षा दृष्टि केते डेवलप करछंती मुंड पिछा आय केते in which are used to rank countries into four tier of human development. यह को माध्यम करिकी कौन हबो ना गोटे राष्ट्र पोजीशन ता केते परिमाण अछि ताको असेसमेंट करा जाय. It is as per the UNDP report. As per ए दृष्टिरु I have collected the data that as per 2019 the Human Development Index is concerned. That Human Development Index report anusare that India's rank was 129 position आउट ऑफ 189 स्टेट 2019 रे जो असेसमेंट करा जायथिला ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स रे को दृष्टि ना जो लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी एजुकेशन हेल्थ पर कैपिटा इनकम ऑल दिस थिंग्स ए दृष्टि डिबेट होता है आसेस करागला जे इंडिया रा पोजीशन 129 थिला जेतेबेले विदिन दी 189 स्टेट 189 राष्ट्र मध्यरु 129 तम थिले जे ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स अनुसार देयर स्ट्रेंथ और पोजीशन dear friend this human development index will identify a state a nation what is its position of the capacity ability resources so anyway next human development in India we'll go for human development in India. India, unlike many developing countries, has a well-developed statistical system. The human development story of India is unique in its kind. You might have heard, you might have seen the different fields how India is progressing. And you might have known that how India is going to take in the membership of Security Council. Through the preparation of not only national but also sub-national human development report, India has decentralized and integrated the human development concept into its development agenda at national, state, as well as district and municipality level. सबु दिगरे केमिति डेवलपमेंट करूची तेनो ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स रे सितार एजेंडा दोची जे हाउ इंडिया इज डेवलपिंग and how it has successfully achieved the human development that prospectus. This document Human Development Index. This document describes the human development story of India and aims at illustrating the policy impact of preparing human development reports and how central human development concepts can go beyond the reports through various human development activities and contribute to sustainable policy impact in a country from a human development perspective. तो ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट क्षेत्र रे भारत अनेक क्षेत्र रे जो सुविधा सुजोग सब दे आसी लोक मानक एवं किभली भाव रे जो विकास धारा गोटे कंटिन्यू प्रोसेस रे चली एवं किभली भाव रे जहाँ रिपोर्ट अच्छी आउ किपरि टिके एक्सेस हबो से कथा मध्य चिंता करूची सो दैट इज व्हाई this particular index should be discussed because this index will compare the states to what is its position. So accordingly they will do for the better policy and program how the human development will be expanded. So finally, in conclusion, we can say in this particular unit that it can be concluded that the human development is one of the indicators of the overall development of a country. My dear friends, try to remember it. The human development is one of the indicators of overall development of countries. गोटे राष्ट्र केते दूर विकास हेची से विकास धारा केवल जानी हबो जे केते परिमाण रे जो मानविक विकास ଉପରେ ଏ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ କରିଛି। It can be measured in terms of the wealth of a country ଏବଂ ଏଇ human development assessment ରୁ ଜାଣି ହେବ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର କେତେ ପରିମାଣରେ ସେ ଧନଶାଳୀ ବା ବିତ୍ତଶାଳୀ। The human resources ତାର କେତେ ଅଛି, ମାନବ ସମ୍ବଳ କଣ ଅଛି ଏବଂ କେତେ ହାସଲ କରିଛି। The health facilities and welfare measures that the country offers to its people। ଗୋଟେ ରାଷ୍ଟ୍ର ତାର ନାଗରିକ ମାନଙ୍କୁ କେତେ ପରିମାଣରେ ସ୍ୱାସ୍ଥ୍ୟ ସେବା, କେତେ ପରିମାଣରେ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ସୁସ୍ଥ ଜୀବନ ଯାପନ ପାଇଁ ପରିବେଶ ଏବଂ କେତେ ମଙ୍ଗଳ କରିପାରିଛି, ଏ ସମସ୍ତ କଥା ଆସିବ ଏଇ ଯେ ହ୍ୟୁମାନ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଇଣ୍ଡେକ୍ସ ରୁ ଜାଣି ହେବ। Not only this much, the fulfillment of the health facilities and the welfare measures that a country offers to its the people to fulfillment of the 6 basic needs। द्वारा कौन हम ना 6टी मौलिक आवश्यकता परिपूर्ण करिपरिबो। नीड्स इन दैट इंटरनेशनली आइडेंटिफाइड एज सारा विश्व रे गोटे राष्ट्र को आंतर्जातिक शब्द परिचित करिवो जे क्यों केते परिमाण रे स्वास्थ्य दृष्टिकोण रु ठीक अछि। आइडेंटिफाइड एज द हेल्थ, एजुकेशन, फूड, वाटर सप्लाई, sanitation and housing। My dear friends, this human development that index and its reports, it will give you knowledge about that how a state is healthier, educationally sound, and food sufficiency, water facility, sanitation and housing। So human development should be the ultimate aim of each and every activity of the state, the objective of all scientific investigations, and above all interaction between two individuals and trading partners। ये समस्त कथा it goes towards the human development। यदि मानवर विकास न होती तेणु मर्यादा सहित न बची ताले आमे कोई परिबा नहीं जे ये राष्ट्रटी गोटे वेलफेयर स्टेट। माय डियर स्टूडेंट, इन दिस रिगार्ड आई वांट टू कमेमोरेटिव वांट टू दैट रिपीट द स्वच्छ भारत प्रोग्राम ऑफ द इंडियाज गवर्नेंस। The when that India was condemned by the UNDP regarding its that sanitation facility and a sanitation program and a sanitation position, so it was ashamed। So the Prime Minister Narendra Modi so started its that program how our nation will be identified as the sanitation free, and how the clean water will be provided to all the citizens। So जो हमरो स्वर्ण जल योजना आमर अच्छी जो स्वच्छता पखवाड़ा, these are the programs for that development program, and all these programs are basically needed for the human development। If the human will that live peaceably with dignity, then that state will identify as the particularly the welfare state or a healthy state so far as the health, education and the social security। If people will not be provided a social security, then the human development is constant। So anyway, and the next we'll just start the unit 20 because time is too that short within the short span of time, so we can also cover up this topic. So unit 20, that is gender and development. My dear student, you see, this particular unit deals with gender and development. Having differentiated between the meaning of sex and the gender, the sex being the biological differences between men and women, and the gender, the social cultural construct. But this topic discusses the relationship between the gender and the development. It also provides a critique of development, discuss that agencies of development, and shows how the issues of women have been replaced by much broader issues relating to gender. Finally, it discusses that gender equity can be achieved with the all-round development of men and women. So, this gender and development, to see, it is a particularly feminist approach. Since long in India or through world, the women were neglected. It was they were under patriarchy, and how they will get liberated, and how they will that develop their position with equal with the men. A sincere effort has been that started by the feminists in a long period. So gender and development is a topic so which will give us knowledge about that how that both men and women about their behavior, activities and work will equal. And it has been collected the report that for a longer period, women were not engaged in the formal duties, and it was occupied by the male. The male dominated society was there. And how the women will get liberated, and how they will achieve their rights, and how they will involve in the different fields of their capabilities. That was the main that summary or the main that content of this topic. So we will start. The biological difference between men and women is generally the basis of defining them into two diametrically opposite social categories as male and female. ତେଣୁ ଜୈବିକ ଅବୟବ ଦୃଷ୍ଟିକୋଣରୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦୁଇ ଭାଗରେ ବିଭକ୍ତ କରାଯାଇଛି, ଗୋଟେ male and female. Thereby attributing to them the characteristics of masculine and feminine. पुरुष संक्रांतीय बा नारी संक्रांतीय ଦୁଇ ଭାଗରେ ବିଭକ୍ତ କରାଯାଇଛି. This sexual differences becomes the basis of many that unscientific, irrational and artificial differences between men and women. That artificial is made by the particularly patriarchs. The way these differences are produced and then that rationalized is what is known as gender relationship. While sex is natural and biological, gender is a socio-cultural phenomenon. One of the that exponent, the feminist, that Anna Oakley, See your point. Gender is a matter of culture. It refers to the social classification of men and women into masculine and feminine. Again, I am just giving that sincere and good definitions. The gender is a matter of culture. It refers to the social classification of men and women into masculine and feminine. Gender reflects the existing power relationship in any that gender society.
That slide so
Again, hello, what happened?
so
Slide, hello,
holy.
so who नहीं, slide so who नहीं,
No,
just yes, just
sir.
just okay. Okay. Okay now. Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
Now it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So according to Oakley, gender is a matter of a culture. It refers to the social classification of men and women into that masculine and feminine. The gender reflects the existing power relationship in any that gender society. The power relations in society are of the unequal nature, where women are given secondary position to men. This massive inequality is the major issues. ତେଣୁ ଦୀର୍ଘ ଦିନ जो ପାୱାର ରିଲେସନସିପରେ ସମାଜରେ जो ପାୱାର ରିଲେସନସିପରେ ଓମେନ୍ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଅନଇକ୍ୱାଲ ଦେଖାଗଲା ଏବଂ ଓମେନ୍ ଆର୍ ଗିଭେନ୍ ସେକେଣ୍ଡାରୀ ଗୋଟେ ଗୌଣ ପୋଜିସନ ଓମେନ୍ ମାନଙ୍କର ଥିଲା ସମାଜରେ ଏବଂ ଏଇ ଗୌଣ ପୋଜିସନ ପାଇଁ ଏବଂ जो ମାସ୍ ଇନଇକ୍ୱାଲିଟି ପାଇଁ ଅସମାନତା ପାଇଁ ଏ जो ଜେଣ୍ଡର ଆଣ୍ଡ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ जो ଗୋଟେ ଫେମିନିଷ୍ଟ ଆପ୍ରୋଚ ସେଟା ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ହେଇଛି ଏବଂ କେମିତି ରିମେଡିଆଲ ଷ୍ଟେପ ନିଆଯାଇଛି ହାଉ ଟୁ ଜେଣ୍ଡର ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଇକ୍ୱାଲିଟି କ୍ୟାନ୍ ବି ମେଣ୍ଟେନ୍ ଏହାର जो ए टॉपिक रो द एसेंस होची जे जेंडर इक्विटीटा केमिति हबो हेले जे ऑल राउंड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द नेशन कैन बी अचीव्ड सो बिफोर वी स्टेप इनटू द डिटेल आई वांट टू क्लियर दैट व्हाट इज जेंडर फ्रेंड्स gender refers to the roles behaviors activities, attributes and opportunities that any society considers appropriate for girls and boys and women and men. Gender interacts with but is different from the binary categories of biological sex. In simple, gender refers to the different ways in which sexual differences between people appear differently in different times and places, societies, cultures, and across people's lifetime. Further, gender refers to both gendering process in society and outcomes of those process. गोटे पुरुष एवं नारी बा एटा पुरुष काम एटा नारी काम एक चिन्हट करने एक परिचित करने होची जो जो जेंडर कॉन्सेप्टटा होची जे ये होची जे लिंग बायोलॉजिकली आमे कहती कौन ये पुरुष एवं से नारी किंतु there are so many activities that different types of attributes. So which also identify these are male, these are female, these are boys, these are girls. So next, so that is why a difference between sex and gender can be discussed, can be analyzed. The sex and gender difference is concerned, I want to say in general terms, sex refers to biological difference between male and females, such as the genetic differences, जीनगत जो difference. Gender is more difficult to define, but it can refer to the role of a male or female in society, known as gender role, or an individual's concept of themselves on gender identity. So, gender and development. So, sex and gender differences. Sex टा केवल पुरुष और नारी को चिन्हट करने ପାଇଁ, because there are so many social and cultural that feel that gender can be identified. The gender टा पुरुष एवं नारी मानकर कार्य भित्तिक एवं गोटे डिफरेंट प्लेस रे ताको मध्य इंडिकेट करूची, आइडेंटिफाइड करूची जे एटा होची जेंडर बोली. जेंडर एंड डेवलपमेंट. Gender and development. It refers to the development perspective and process that is participatory and empowering, equitable, sustainable, free from violence, respectful of human rights, supportive of self-determination and actualization of human potentiality. तेणु ये जो कौच जेंडर एंड डेवलपमेंट, जो डेवलपमेंट को क्षेत्र हम एवं बोथ the patriarchy, the process that is that participatory अंशग्रहण करेंगे, सशक्तिकरण हेबे एवं सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट डेवलप हम एवं समस्त भायोलेंस रु मुक्त हेबे एवं समस्त पुरुष नारी माने रेस्पेक्ट ऑफ ह्यूमन राइट्स एंड सपोर्टिव ऑफ सेल्फ डिटरमिनेशन आत्मनिर्धारण हेबे एवं ये समस्त पोटेंशियली तो डेवलपमेंट को हम कहबा कोन ना जेंडर डेवलपमेंट. इट इज a feminist and their friends, and I have told you earlier that it is a feminist approach basically to understanding and addressing the disparate that impact that economic development and globalization have on people based upon their location, gender, class background and other socio-political identities. A strict economic approach to development views a country's development in quantitative terms such as job creation and high employment, all of which aim to improve the economic well-being of a country and quality of life for its people. गोटे देश तो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट हेले एम्प्लॉयमेंट सृष्टि हम, एम्प्लॉयमेंट सृष्टि हेले जे स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग डेवलपमेंट हम. तेणु किभली भाव में एक सुस्थ जीवन यापन एवं जहाँ सम भाव में समस्त एवेलेबल हम, ये जो पार्टिकुलर कॉन्सेप्ट होची उद्देश्य भाई जो दैट पर्टिकुलर अप्रोच ये जो तत्वर उद्देश्य. Anyway, gender and development emphasizes efforts towards understanding how multifaceted these issues are in the entangled context of culture, government, and globalization. So we can that give some report, particularly the final report of this topic, that finally it can be said that gender and development is a socio-cultural phenomenon. That is socio-cultural phenomenon. Since long, women have been given lower socio-economic and political status in society, and this continues in modern society. कहीं जेंडर डेवलपमेंट विषय कहीं आलोचना करने ना सामाजिक एवं अर्थनैतिक दृष्टिकोण दीर्घ दिन धरी महिला मानू अवहेला करा जायतिला एंड पॉलिटिकल स्टेटस इन द सोसाइटी एंड दिस कंटिन्यूज एपरिक जो राजनीतिक स्थिति से बहुत निम्न थिला एवं जहाँ प्री कॉलोनियल पीरियड एंड ऑल्सो post colonial period and also after independence, it is also continuing in modern society. For which this topic came for detailed discussion and analysis by the feminists, those who are that trying their sincere effort for women empowerment and to make free to the women from subjugation of the patriarchy. Okay? Democracy and development are two main areas by which the state has to progress in order to modernize the state, society, and institution, in order to give or guarantee equal and legal rights both men and women. It is democracy and development. So, how the old democracy will be reformed, how the maximum freedom will be given irrespective of gender discrimination. लिंगगत जो निर्विशेष समस्त को किभली भाव समता दिया पारिबो एवं समस्त किभली प्रोग्रेस करिवे, दैट इज द मेन कंसर्न and institution in order to give guarantee equal and legal rights both men and women. So in this respect, women too have put their efforts in the movement for restoration and reformation of democracy and subsequent development. The गणतंत्र रो जो संशोधन हेले, गणतंत्र रो संस्कार हेले, जे डेमोक्रेसी रो परवर्ती डेवलपमेंट ही पाइबो, जो नारी मान विशेषकर ये प्रकार एक आंदोलन एवं नारी मानकर जो लेखा एवं सेमानकर चेष्टा जो जेंडर इक्विटी को समतारे पहुंचे. So anyway, so far as the agencies, अनेक गुड़े एजेंसी अच्छी जो एजेंसी द्वारा कौन होती ना जानिबा को मिली जे किबोली भाव रे नारी माने महिला माने समाज रे सामाजिक अर्थनैतिक राजनैतिक क्षेत्र में अवहेलित हो जाए एवं केमिति समाने ए प्रकार अवहेला रु मुक्ति पाई, हाउ दे विल बी इन्वॉल्व इन द मेन स्ट्रीम ऑफ नेशनल लाइफ, in the every walk of life. That is the main object of this particular study. Anyway, that so far as the agencies of development is concerned, three important agencies are trying best for women's rights. These are the individual, the state individual, those who are trying the feminists, and also the individual, those who are that trying their sincere effort to that point out in the which places the women are neglected, all these things, and the state and community. These agencies should play significant role for ensuring the well-being of women and development, her capability and freedom. तो ये जो एजेंसी सब अच्छी से एमती काम करवा दरकार जाफल नारी मानकर मुक्ति एवं नारीर जो अच्छी ता भितर जो पारिबापणिया अच्छी ताहा किमिति भाव प्रदर्शन हो पारिबो एवं यो निश्चित हो पारिबो सो दैट दे कैन कम टू द मेन स्ट्रीम ऑफ नेशनल लाइफ बट all ideas of development usually work against women, which is increasing inequalities and depriving the woman. As a result of this criticism, the United Nations decided that there should be conscious effort to involve women in a development and give them access to the formal sector of the economy. Formal sector means all the governmental sections of economy. How the women will be given chance to involve, taking into consideration their capabilities, their education, their skills, all these things. So this was the women in a development approach. That was short form konti kon na that WID, the women in a development approach. This was added a multitude of feminist movements showing the negative impact of the work done by the states or agencies on the women at the local level. This experience were transferred at the theoretical level and began to be referred to a gender and a development program. Gender and development paradigm. So anyway, it advocates a look at the decision-making structure of development, which was structured along patriarchal lines and often based on Western models incapable of taking into account the concerns of the non-Western the women. दीर्घ दिन धरी जो चली जो पॉलिसी मेकिंग दैट डिसीजन मेकिंग दैट स्ट्रक्चर जहाँ अच्छी केवल से पुरुष मानक नहीं चलता जमी दैट द स्ट्रक्चर दैट वाज एसोसिएटेड विथ पेट्रियार्कल लाइन्स पुरुष केंद्रित थिला नारी मानक पॉलिटिकल दैट सिस्टम रे सुजोग दिया जाउ नथिला जे समान अबला दुर्बला सो दे कैन नॉट दैट सिट इन द फ्लोर ऑफ द हाउस to take the decision. तेणु एटा ब्रिटिश ढांचा चली जो वेस्टर्न मॉडल चली एंड दस what can be done is the empowerment of women to ensure their participation in their own development. Focus on small scale women only projects to avoid male domination, and in recent years, the need to investigate relationship among gender ideologies, women subordination, and operation of social, economic, and political powers has been focusing on men and women in relation to one another. Anyway, so this was the gender and the development. But the discussion related to gender and development, the critics, the agencies, and the gender and development in India, what we that learn in this topic, just I would say in a short form, the very standpoint is gender equity entails the concept that all human beings, be it men or women, are free to develop their personal abilities and make choices without the limitations set by stereotypes, rigid gender goals, and political and other prejudice. କୌଣସି ପସନ୍ଦ ଲିମିଟେସନ ରହିବ ନାହିଁ। ମେଲ୍ ହଉ କି ଫିମେଲ ହଉ ତାର ସକ୍ଷମତା ଅନୁସାରେ ତାର କ୍ୟାପାବିଲିଟି ଅନୁସାରେ ପର୍ସନାଲ ଆବିଲିଟି ଅନୁସାରେ ସେଟା ପୋଷ୍ଟ ହୋଲ୍ଡ କରିବ। ଏଇଟା ପୁରୁଷ ପାଇଁ ଏଇଟା ନାରୀ ପାଇଁ, ସୋ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ସୁଡ୍ ନଟ୍ ବି ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଲିମିଟେଡ୍। ସେ ପ୍ରକାର ଯୋଉ ରିଜିଡ୍ ଜେଣ୍ଡର ରୋଲ ଏକୁ ବାଦ ଦିଆଯିବ। ସେ ଇନ୍ ଅର୍ଡର ଟୁ ପ୍ରିଜୁଡିସ୍ ଜଣେ ଲୋକ ତାର କାପାସିଟି ଅନୁସାରେ ତା ପ୍ରିଜୁଡିସ୍ ଅନୁସାରେ ସେ ହେଉଛି ଏଟାକୁ କରିବ। ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ସୁଡ୍ ବି ଗିଭେନ୍ ଚାନ୍ସ। So their different behavior and aspirations should be valued and favored equally, and they would be treated fairly according to their respective needs. Again, I am repeating the same. Their different behavior and aspirations should be valued and favored equally, and they would be treated fairly according to their respective needs. ସେମାନଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ଯାହା ଯୋଉ ମୂଲ୍ୟବୋଧ ଅଛି, ତେଣୁ ପୁରୁଷ ନାରୀ ଭିତରେ ଯୋଉ ଡିଫରେନ୍ସକୁ ନ ଆଣି ସେମାନଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ ଥିବା ମୂଲ୍ୟବୋଧ ଗୁଡ଼ିକୁ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟରେ ଲଗାଯାଏ ଏବଂ ତାକୁ ପୁରା ଫେୟାରଲି କୌଣସି ପାତର ଅନ୍ତର ନ ରହି କୌଣସି ମାଲାଫାଇଡ୍ ଇଣ୍ଟେନସନ ନ ରହି ଏବଂ ସେମାନେ ଯେତେ ଦୂର ସମ୍ଭବ ବା ଯାହା ସେମାନେ ପାଇବା ଦରକାର ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦିଆଯିବା ଦରକାର। ତେଣୁ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଇଜ୍ ସିନ୍ ଏଜ୍ ଏନ୍ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ୱେ ଟୁ ଏଚିଭ୍ ଦିସ୍। ଯଦି ଗଣତନ୍ତ୍ରରେ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ବିକାଶ କରାଯିବ, ଜେଣ୍ଡର ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଯଦି ସମ୍ଭବ ହବ, ମିନ୍ସ ଯୋଉ ପୁରୁଷ ନାରୀ ଭିତରେ କିଛି ରହିବ ନାହିଁ, ଯୋଉ ଫରକ କେବଳ ବାୟୋଲୋଜିକାଲ ଡିଫରେନ୍ସେସ୍ so far as the reproduction is concerned is especially for women and male ଭିତରେ ଯୋଉ ରହିଛି ବାୟୋଲୋଜିକାଲ ଡିଫରେନ୍ସ ଛାଡ଼ିଦେଲେ, କିନ୍ତୁ ସୋସିଆଲ କଲଚରାଲ ପଲିଟିକାଲ ଲେଭେଲରେ କ୍ୟାପାବିଲିଟିକୁ ଯଦି ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱ ଦିଆଯାଏ ତାହେଲେ କ'ଣ ହବ ନା ଯୋଉ development is possible, which is the core for all the development. Anyway, in the now we will start that is okay within the that time we will finish our course. Now we will start that most important and also the challenging topic, the how and why the democracy and the development in India is facing challenges. So Unit 21. Unit 21, it includes the regional imbalances. Regional imbalances. It is seen, my dear students, it is very often seen in the various areas, various regions that peoples are seeking for regional identity. And they are competing with, if not in opposition to the national identity. And sometimes they are also want to secession from the Indian Union for the sake of regional identity. The nature of this regional identity needs to be analyzed in terms of the social and cultural forces that have been at work. My dear friends, initially it was only 16 states of India. Next, that 21. Next, 25. Now, it is 28 states. 28 states and 9 union territories. 29 is wrong. So, the origin of that regionalism have given chance to this development. The Indian that states, they have emerged through this regional gene and regional imbalance. Due to regional imbalances, regionalism, the sense of regionalism has been developed. The origin of regionalism in India can be traced back to many of the factors like cultural heritage, geographical isolation, ethnic loyalty. So many that factors are there. But for a political theorist, it is more to be viewed as the complex of political, economic, ethnic phenomena. It is an expression of that heightened political consciousness, expanding participation and increasing competition for scarce resources. My dear students, economic grievances that may be real or perceived have often been articulated in the form of resistance to the economic policies of the center, promoting deprivation of one region at the cost of favoring another region. But the grievances related to this process of internal colonialism are often focused. The feeling of cultural annexity over language, status, and ethnic balance. It is this fusion that constitutes the core of individual's identity. And when politicized, takes a potentiality that virulent form providing regionalism its potential. So it follows that the general factors behind the growth of regionalism are the cultural, ethnic, and linguistic diversity of India. ତେଣୁ ସାଂସ୍କୃତିକ କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ, ଏଥନିକ କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ, ଭାଷା କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ ଭାରତ ହେଉଛି ବିଭିନ୍ନତା. It is in the recognition of this diversity that federalism as an institutional mechanism has been treated as a cornerstone of India's democratic system that has enabled the regional social growth. Indeed, The frequency with the identity-based politics has asserted itself, the regional level has invested. My dear friends, Indian federalism with a substance not found in many that putative federal political system. So now we'll discuss in a detail the regional imbalances, the why this unity is the focus of study. This unity discussed the various theoretical perspectives regarding the concept of regionalism in India. It throws the light on the growth and existence of regionalism along with overarching nationalism in colonial India. This topic is also concerned with the discussion of regionalism in the Constituent Assembly. It highlights the national policies of the state regarding regionalism and affirmative policies for regional imbalances in India. The structure adjustment program has further enhanced regional imbalances in the country. My dear friends, you see, since independence, this regional imbalances has become an important issue. Why the regional imbalances are creating and which hindrances to the nationalism? The different parts of the states, they are demanding to secession from the Indian Union, like Punjab, the Khalistan, the Gurkhas, they are also demanding now. And before we say that on the basis of language, culture, and economic disparity, so many countries, so they have tried the movement to make a separate state. You see the Nagas and the Mijos, Nagaland and Mizoram, Punjab and Haryana for language, so many states. But why the regional imbalances is creating in the minds of the people, that should be discussed in this topic. In this unit, and we will follow that what is regional imbalances. What is the regional imbalances? Factors responsible for regional imbalances, impact of regional imbalances. So the now I'll say the regional imbalances. And so why the regional imbalances is creating among the people? From the social and economic point of view, some states have been in a position to develop more, whereas others have continued to lag behind. My dear student, again I am pointing out the aim of economic planning in India has been to achieve a balanced and all-round socio-economic development of all the areas and people. Unfortunately, neither the implementation of a 5-year plan nor the enforcement of the economic policy plans and decisions have been really successful in this respect. Presence of regional imbalances fully brings out these sad facts. From the social and economic point of view, you see, some states have been in a position to develop more. जो कथा हमें कहते महाराष्ट्र एवं गुजरात, तमिलनाडु, कर्नाटक, so एमने developed. They have been in a position in a register good socio-economic development in India. But you see, the Bihar, Odisha, and all the northeast states, Madhya Pradesh and some others continue to lag behind. ସେମାନେ ପଛରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି. କୋଉଥିରୁ ଆମେ ଜାଣିବା? Now the per capita income in some states like Punjab and Gujarat have much higher than the Bihar, Orissa and some others. In fact, some states have earned the dubious distinction of being that Bhimrao states, that is, states suffering from the disease of underdevelopment, poverty and crime. These are the three important things: underdevelopment, poverty and crime, for which the regional imbalances has become a factor. Within the relatively developed states, a sizable gap exists between various sections of society, such that urban and rural people, between the rural landlords and also landlords, farmers and laborers, and between the wage earners and the property class. Even the 10th five-year plan recorded the continued presence of all these types of imbalances. India continues to present a picture of big regional disparities. जो कथा में पढ़ी थे लास्ट क्लास रे जे अनइवन पोजीशन, अनइवन डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, डेवलप्ड regions and underdeveloped regions, developed and underdeveloped backward sections of the society still coexist side by side. Sometimes a distinction is made between India, that is urban, developed and still fast developing. It is made between India and Bharat. Rural poor, underdeveloped and still living with the growing disparity and imbalance. किसी राष्ट्र रे rural poor अछंती, सेठी underdeveloped अछि, जे standard of living सेमानंकर ठीक नहीं, एवं sometimes that it is politicized also. How? Now the party in power, they are also creating the artificial the disparities for which the regional balances are also created. India signs, and yet Bharat continues to remain a poor and weak part of society. Rural India is still to get freedom from poverty, disease, literacy, superstition, ritualism, casteism, violence and underdevelopment. Again, I am repeating the same. India signs, and yet Bharat continues to remain a poor and weak part of society. Rural India is still to get freedom from poverty, hunger, disease, illiteracy, superstition, ritualism, casteism, violence and underdevelopment. Because these are the important that reason for which the peoples, they are creating the regionalism, the sense of regionalism, the sense of that regional feelings, and they are also comparing with the other states or the other areas, the how they are affluent and we are under poverty. So now we'll just acknowledge what are the factors that responsible for regional imbalance. There are so many factors, that is, you see the slide, the factors responsible for the regional imbalances, that is historical factors, faulty planning and inadequate success planning, geographical factors, lack of transport and infrastructural facilities, technological factors, lack of educational and training facilities, weakness of local self-government institutions. So far as the historical factors, we'll see the regional imbalances have been continuing to exist as also the part of the legacy of British. जो regionalism feelings टा केवल जे आमे एबे इंडिपेंडेंस इंडिया रे नुहे एटा ब्रिटिश पीरियड मध्ये अछि जेतबेले कम्युनल रिप्रेजेंटेशन हला एवं colonial period मध्ये ये legacy मध्ये अछि. During the whole era of British imperialism, only some part of India, that is Calcutta, Bombay, Madras, were preferred and developed. You might have that half from the history. British Calcutta re collapse, karana these are the main colonies, and the British East India Company, they covered all these important cities. Calcutta, Bombay and Madras were preferred and developed. एवं वर्तमान मध्य हम देखिबा से कथा को जदि विचार करा जाय भारत वर्ष रे ये गुडा को मध्य निश्चित भाव रे उन्नत मानर अछंती. सेते बेलु ताको छाप पड़ी. All rural areas and almost all other urban areas were neglected. That by the British. India inherited some regional imbalances at the time of our independence. ये आज नुहे स्वाधीनता पूर्व मध्य ए प्रकार जो आंचलिक जो अभ्यास एवं आंचलिक असमानता थिला. Number 2, the faulty planning and inadequate success planning also the one of the major factor for which the factor for which responsible for regional imbalance. The adoption of the objective of all-round and the comprehensive development of the whole of India and all sections of the society through organized planning has been definitely a laudable objective. We know good planning. Unfortunately, neither the 5-year plan were very meticulously formulated nor these were effectively implemented. Faulty planning and inability to achieve planned target becomes instrumental in producing a very slow and uneven economic development. ये जो त्रुटिपूर्ण जो योजना जहाँ कौन कला ना गोटे अर्थनैतिक विकास क्षेत्र में असमानता सृष्टि कला, which resulted into imbalance. निश्चित भाव में balance रहिबो नहीं, imbalance सृष्टि होला. While some states were in a position to gain more, ये जो regional imbalance से द्वारा कौन है ना some states they gain more, others continue to lag behind in getting industrialized. जोथिपाई गुजरात हमरो महाराष्ट्र that मद्रास रे माने अनेक गुड़िए इंडस्ट्री डेवलप हो पारिछि, जोठी ओडिसा रे किंबा बिहार रे बा अन्य जो स्टेट रे जो माने पछुआ राज्य गुड़ी इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन हो पारने, लोक मैंने अधिक परिमाण में एम्प्लॉयमेंट पाइबा सी आड़ को जाऊँ. बर्तमान जो कोरोना पीरियड जो भाव में सुओ सुटिले 6-7 लाख लोक, तेणु ए जना पड़ी दे आर दि डेभलप्ड दैट स्टेट. so far as the economic is concerned. So there is the availability of employment for which the people from Odisha, rural area of Odisha, they are going or migrated to these developed states in India. The green that revolution came, but only in some states. Anyway, the number 3, the geographical factors. Geographical factors, we can say, it is also responsible for the creation of the balanced and the imbalanced. Particularly, the hill and the hill districts of some states have failed to get full facilities and resources. We have to see that Assam, that hilly areas, Mijos, and you see Arunachal Pradesh, some hilly areas. Lack of infrastructure has been the main reason behind their continued underdevelopment. Geographical distance and inaccessibility of some areas has changed the development of the hill district, particularly. The example can be given that Jammu and Kashmir, you see the Uttarakhand, northeast states, and some other parts of India. এই পাহাড়িয়া অঞ্চল দৃষ্টিকোণ সেটি যেতବେଳେ গমନାଗମନ ସୁବିଧା ଠିକ ହେଲା ନାହିଁ ଏବଂ ଏକୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଦୃଷ୍ଟି ଦିଆଗଲା ନାହିଁ ତେଣୁ ସେଠି ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଠିକ ଭାବରେ ହେଇପାରିଲା ନାହିଁ ଏବଂ ନମ୍ବର 4 the lack of transport and infrastructure facility. So my dear student, you should acknowledge all these factors that why imbalances of India, regional imbalances is created. Otherwise, you cannot face the question which will be asked in your term and examination. Lack of transport and infrastructure facility are also the factors responsible for regional imbalance. How? That inadequacy of facilities like roads, transport, communication, electricity, water, and other have together been a major source of creating regional imbalances and perpetuating under development several regions. The failure to put in that concerted and well-planned efforts by the state governments has been also responsible for inadequate development of certain areas. Most of the states have failed to fully mobilize local efforts and resources. Due to the lack of transport and infrastructure facilities, state government initiative नथिला ଏବଂ ସେମାନେ କିଛି ପ୍ଲାନ୍ କଲେ ନାହିଁ ଯେ କିଭଳି ଭାବରେ ଏଇଟାକୁ ଆମେ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ କଲେ ଯେ ଆମର ଯେ ଷ୍ଟେଟର ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ହେବ ତେଣୁ ଲୋକାଲ ଇଫୋର୍ଟ ଏବଂ ରିସୋର୍ସେସର ଅଭାବ ପାଇଁ ଏଠି କ'ଣ ହେଲା ନା ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟାୟରେ ଯେ ଆଞ୍ଚଳିକ ଯୋଉ ଅଭିଳାଷ ବା ଆଞ୍ଚଳିକ ମନୋଭାବ ସୃଷ୍ଟି ହେଲା. Next point is the factor is technological factors. It is also added to the creation of regional imbalances. The geographical hindrances can be overcome by the development of science and technology. No problem. These have the potential to help the people to overcome geographical hindrances and industrial and economic underdevelopment. Inability to develop and use much needed technologies, particularly inability to use indigenous skills and local technology, has been also responsible for the continued underdevelopment of several areas. ତେଣୁ ଯୋଉ ଷ୍ଟେଟରେ ଟେକ୍ନୋଲୋଜିକାଲ ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟର ଜୋଗ୍ରାଫିଟାକୁ ଓଭରକମ୍ କରିହେଲା କିନ୍ତୁ ଟେକ୍ନୋଲୋଜିକାଲ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଅନେକ କାରଣ ପାଇଛି ଯେ କେବଳ ଏଇ କଥା ପାଇଁ ନୁହେଁ ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କର ଇଚ୍ଛାଶକ୍ତି ସରକାରର ପ୍ଲାନ୍ ଏଗୁଡ଼ାକ ସବୁ ମଧ୍ୟ ଆବଶ୍ୟକତା ଅଛି. କାରଣ ଏଇଠି ମୁଁ ଟିକେ କହିବି ଯେ ଆଞ୍ଚଳିକତା ଅଭିଳାଷ ବା ଯୋଉ ରିଜନାଲ ଇମ୍ବାଲାନ୍ସେସ୍ କେବଳ ଯେ ଏଇ କାରଣ ପାଇଁ ନୁହେଁ, ସେଥିରେ ଲୋକମାନେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଦାୟୀ। ମୁଁ ଯଦି ଗୋଟେ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ that you might have known that Gurupriya Setu at Malkanagiri. So 10 ବର୍ଷ ଲାଗିଲା ଗୁରୁପ୍ରିୟା ସେତୁକୁ କମ୍ପ୍ଲିଟ୍ କରିବା ପାଇଁ, କାରଣ ଲୋକମାନେ ଚାହୁଁନାହାନ୍ତି ସେଠି ବ୍ରିଜ ହଉ, ଆମେ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ହଉ। କାରଣ ସେଠି ଯୋଉ ମାଓବାଦୀ ମାନେ ଅଛନ୍ତି, ମାଓଇଷ୍ଟ, ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଡିଗ୍ନିଟି କମିଯିବ। କାରଣ ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କୁ ଯୋଉ ଗୋଟେ ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜ କରିକି ରଖିଛନ୍ତି, ଯଦି ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ହବ, ଲୋକମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟମେଣ୍ଟ ପାଇବେ, ସେମାନେ ତାଙ୍କ କଥା ଶୁଣିବେ ନାହିଁ। ତେଣୁ ତାଙ୍କ ମନ ଭିତରେ ରିଜନାଲ ଫିଲିଙ୍ଗସଟା ଏକ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ୱେରେ ସେମାନେ ଆଣୁଛନ୍ତି, ଯେ ହାଉ ଦେ that create a violence and to oppose the government violence. So anyway, the next factor is the lack of educational and training facilities for people. ये भी मध्य गोटे कारण जे शिक्षा प्रशिक्षण जो व्यवस्था लोक मान पाखे जो कम थिला, से गोटे imbalances, regional imbalances कारण हो पारे. So there can be no real socio-economic development without the spread of a proper education and training, right? Without education and training, so socio-economic development will be stopped. The regions which have been lagging behind have been such as still lack comprehensive and efficient educational and training facilities. Failure of the state to spread literacy has been the mother of all failures. निश्चित भाव केरल सर्वप्रथम लिटरेसी अधिक केरल रे डेवलप, तमिलनाडु मध्य डेवलप, बिहार, ओडिशा एवं अदर हिली एरिया देखा जाऊ कि सेठी लेक ऑफ जो लिटरेसी किभली भाव में अनुन्नत होती। It is indeed unfortunate that we have taken more than 6 decades to initiate steps for securing total literacy by granting the right of education to all children. However, the state is yet to spread the targeted that 6% of GDP on education. There is every need to prepare special schemes for speedily spreading literacy in all backward areas and regions. But what happened? You see, in particularly the hilly areas, the tribal areas, their college dropout, school dropout are maximum. The government is giving so many assistance, different type of that land schemes are adopting, but they are not coming to the important space. So weakness of local self-government institution is the another factor for which get the scope for regional imbalances. The failure of the local institution and the local people to effectively run the system of local self-government for the development of their local areas has been a major reason behind the presence of regional imbalances in various parts of the world. But I told you just the Malkanagiri areas, particularly the Chitrakonda areas, why the people that and their local that self-government institutions are that failure to develop the different areas. So all these factors, reasons, have been mainly responsible for the continued presence of regional imbalances in India. My dear friends, now, so these factors, how it has impacted the regional imbalances and what is its impact to the Indian that democracy and the development. Now we'll discuss the impact of regional imbalances. That is that inadequate and slow development of national economy due to these regional imbalances. What impact of regional imbalances to our democracy and development? Inadequacy and slow developing of national economy. Number two, source of regionalism and communalism, source of tension and conflict, hindrances in the way of national integration and nation building, source of violence in society and politics. So, in this way, these factors of regional impulse, imbalance have impacted India, particularly the democracy and the development. The impact of regional imbalances, it includes these points: the inadequacy and the slow development of national economy, that is, regional imbalances have hindered the process of comprehensive economic development of the whole country. Definitely. Because India is a federal state. Article 1 of the Indian Constitution says India, that is Bharat, the union of states. So we should be give attention to all the regions and states should be developed accordingly and proportionally. Number two, the source of regionalism and communalism. याद्वारा सृष्टि है कौन जो रिजनल इम्बालांसेस लोक मान मन भितर छुईला सृष्टि है आंचलिकतावाद एवं आंचलिकतावाद सांप्रदायिकतावाद सृष्टि है. These have been responsible for the presence of the forces of regionalism and communalism in India. Poverty and illiteracy always provide a breeding ground of communalism. ତେଣୁ ଦାରିଦ୍ରତା ଏବଂ ଏ ଯେଉଁ ନିରକ୍ଷରତା ଇଏ ଠିକ ସୃଷ୍ଟି କଲା ଯେଉଁ କମ୍ୟୁନାଲିଜମ की ସୃଷ୍ଟି କଲା. Next, source of tension and conflict. Regionalism imbalances have been a source of discontentment. उत्तेजना प्रवण द्वंद्व ये सब सृष्टि है जो रिजनलिज्म है. आम अंचल पछुआ हो गला से अंचल अधिक है केंद्र सरकार से राज्य को अधिक देले आमको कम देले ये द्वारा कौन है ना द रिजनल इम्बालांस सोर्स ऑफ डिसकंटेंटमेंट टेंशन एंड स्ट्रेन इन सोशल इकोनॉमिक रिलेशन ये सब बेले लगी रहा. नेक्स्ट, रिजनलिज्म बा रिजनल इम्बालांस फल आउ कौन है प्रभावित है हिंडरेंसेस इन द वे ऑफ नेशनल इंटीग्रेशन एंड नेशन बिल्डिंग. डेफिनेटली the challenges to the nation building. Inequalities have acted as a hindrances in the way of national integration, nation building. जातीय संगति जाति गठन राष्ट्र गठन गोटे प्रतिबंधक सृष्टि कला. Social and economic inequalities and underdevelopment constitute a big hindrances in the way of national integration. This is another impact. And the next impact is the source of violence. The source of violence in society and the politics. It can be categorically stated that the states and areas which have been suffering from social and economic inequality have been breeding grounds for such violations. Such violent activities are being used by the Naxals in Andhra Pradesh, in the states of Bihar, Odisha, Andhra and Jharkhand. Similarly, Ulfa, cadres and other terrorist and militant groups have been active in northeast that states. So there is every need to check these evil effects of regional imbalances by taking the remedial measures against it. Otherwise, otherwise the nation building will be strong and the integrated nation will be disintegrated. And for this step, well planned and concrete efforts for controlling regional imbalances alone can lead to a really widespread process of socio-economic development throughout the country. यदि सारा भारत विभिन्न अंचल विभिन्न स्टेट रे उपयुक्त योजना माध्यम सामाजिक अर्थनैतिक विकास प्रोपोर्शनेट रे समानुपातिक धारा रे लोक संख्या को आधार करी पारिबो ताहले आमे कोन करबा रीजनल इम्बालांसेस एंड इन दिस रिगार्ड केमिते में ये तो रिसेंट जो ग्रोथ जहाँ सब होती फैक्टर इकोनॉमिक इम्बालांस होती पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी ऑफ रीजनलिज्म सृष्टि है एवं ट्रेस एंड टेंसर किंतु वर्तमान देखिबा कि दिस हाउ कैन ओवरकम दिस regional imbalance. That means that how some step can be taken for regional imbalances. So, for this purpose, the following remedial step can be that taken or suggested. The area-specific plan for socio-economic development of underdeveloped regions. The Planning Commission must identify the particular causes of regional imbalances which characterize the various backward and underdeveloped regions. Special plan for removing these causes should be undertaken region-wise. अंचल भितर देखा जाऊ कोठी अनुन्नत अच्छी कोठी उन्नत अच्छी कोठी की प्रकार प्लान अच्छी इम्प्लीमेंट करा जाई परिबो. स्पेशल एरिया डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स स्पेशल एरिया डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम and the projects should be formulated and implemented. The special development plan for Northeast must be implemented with full resources and efforts. तो Northeast स्टेट मानकरे जो अनुन्नत अच्छी ताकू बेसी टिके गुरुत्व दिया दरकार. Next, the empowerment of local self-government institutions. स्थानीय स्वायत्त शासन को आउ टिके डिसेंट्रलाइज एवं अधिक जो सशक्तिकरण करने आवश्यक ताहले जाएगी रीजनल इम्बालांसेस फीलिंग्स टा कमिबो. लोकल सेल्फ गवर्नमेंट institutions, local that self-government institution must be empowered and motivated for standing up the process of socio-economic development of local areas. Next, effective use of tribal councils and hilly councils. Of course, the measure have taken regarding the ITDA, Integrated Tribal Development Program. This program has been initiated, but the result has not reached to the extent. So, effective use of a tribal council and a hill council. The tribal areas must be developed through the empowerment of tribal council and a hill council. Of course, in the 7th schedule and the 5th schedule, some special that initiative has been taken by the government as per the constitutional norms, but it has not reached to the extent. So next, the special effort for development of education and employment opportunities. Special efforts for development of education and employment opportunities, particularly for weaker section of the society and rural people. एथिपाई बेसी दृष्टि दबा दरकार कारण सेठु सृष्टि होउचे आंचलिक मनोभाव कारण ड्यू टू lack of education, they are biased by their people. ଯେମିତି ମୁଁ କଥା କହିଲି ନକ୍ସାଲିଟି ଯେ ଆନ୍ଧ୍ର ଯେ ବିହାର ଓଡ଼ିଶା ଏଠି ଲୋକମାନେ ଅଭାବ ପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ biased ହେଇଯାଉଛନ୍ତି କାରଣ due to lack of education they are just like the toy in the hands of the Naxalites, the Ulfas, the Maoists in Odisha. Anyway, without overcoming the problems of illiteracy, ignorance and unemployment, there can be little real development. The weaker sections of society must be given special time-bound packages for receiving education and getting employment or meeting the menace of prevailing imbalances among various sections of society living in the territories of the relatively less developed states. Next, another step, the special step for boosting agricultural and rural development. This is the main suggestion or the step. The special steps for boosting agriculture and rural. You see, the nearly 70% of the population of India lives in rural areas. And depending upon the agriculture, and agriculture still continues the backbone of the rural area. We need formidable plans for rural development through PRI institutions. Panchayat Raj system re hame vyavastha karichhanti. The country needs a second green revolution, without which we cannot have sustained agricultural development. So new technology, new improvement, new that process re jodi amaro gote ସବୁଜ ବିପ୍ଳବ ପୁଣି ଥରେ ଦରକାର ଯାହା ଫଳରେ ଆମେ କଣ କରିବା ନା ସେ ଏଗ୍ରିକଲଚରଟାକୁ ଆମେ ବିକାଶ କରିପାରିବା ଯାହା 70% ଲୋକଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଆତ୍ମନିର୍ଭରଶୀଳ ତାକୁ ଟିକେ ଡେଭଲପ କରିପାରିବା ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫ rural infrastructure, agricultural infrastructure, irrigation facility, marketing facility, establishment of agro industries in rural areas, food processing industries in rural areas, and development of employment opportunities for rural youth must constitute the top item of our agenda for rural development. ଆମେ ଏଗ୍ରିକଲଚର ଆଣିକି ଦେଇଦେବେ କଣ ଉନ୍ନତ ମାନର ଧାନ ଦିଆଯିବ ଯେ ଏଟାକୁ ଗୋଟେ କିଲୋରେ ଗୋଟେ କୁଇଣ୍ଟାଲ କେମିତି ହଉଛି ଫଳିବ ଏ କଥା ଦିଆଯାଉଛି ବଟ୍ ଇଟ୍ ନିଡ୍ସ ଦ infrastructure development, the irrigated facility, the full-time irrigation, এবং the production should be marketed under the government, under the that control of government, and the food preservation system of our country should be developed so that the we will that get everything throughout the year. ଯେମିତି ଆମର ରସୁଣ ପିଆଜ ଅଦା ଏଗୁଡ଼ିକ ହେଉଛି ସବୁ ସର୍ଟ ହେଉଛି ପ୍ରାୟ ସମୟରେ କାରଣ ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା ଓଡ଼ିଶା କେସରେ ଏଠି ପ୍ରିଜର୍ଭେସନ ଫ୍ୟାସିଲିଟି ନଥିବାରୁ ସୋ ଆମେ ନାଗପୁରରୁ ପିଆଜ ଆଣୁଛନ୍ତି ଅନ୍ୟାନ୍ୟ ଷ୍ଟେଟରୁ ଆଣୁଛନ୍ତି ଆଳୁ ଆମେ ରିଜର୍ଭ କରିକି ରଖିପାରୁନାହାନ୍ତି ଅଲ୍ ଦିସ୍ ଥିଙ୍ଗସ୍ ସୋ ଦେ ସୁଡ୍ ବି ଡେଭଲପ ଏବଂ ସୋ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଦି ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟମେଣ୍ଟ ଅପରଚ୍ୟୁନିଟି ହେଉଛି ସୃଷ୍ଟି ହେଇପାରିବ ଏହାଦ୍ୱାରା ମଧ୍ୟ ଏମ୍ପ୍ଲୟମେଣ୍ଟ ସୃଷ୍ଟି କରିବ ଏଇଗୁଡ଼ିକ ସବୁ ପ୍ରାଧାନ୍ୟ ଦିଆଯିବା ଦରକାର ଏବଂ ତେଣୁ India cannot fight unless Bharat fights. So anyway, the positive role of a political party, ये मतलब another that step. It is the most important step. The a positive attitude and a positive role should be played by the political parties. Those are coming to power both in the center and the states. Sometimes the states, the regions, they are also demanding. They are demanding that they have been neglected in a different point of view. During the disaster, during the different type of natural calamities or the financial aid, they are creating that problem. Indian political parties, particularly the regional political parties, can play a positive role in reviewing regional imbalances. Because you see, due to the multi-party system in India, hmm, that so many regional political parties, each state there having a regional political party. Hmm. So regional party, they are creating the regional imbalances. And maximum states have been secession from the Indian Union through the that political party. So the political party can do this by variously pursuing the goal of socio-economic development. But in again, I'm telling that the Indian political parties, particularly the regional parties, can play a positive role in removing regional imbalances. They can do this by variously pursuing the goal of socio-economic development of their respective states or regions, but without indulging in negative regionalism and confrontationalist approach. ତେଣୁ ଯେଉଁ ଏକୁ ନକାରାତ୍ମକ ଭାବରେ ନ ଦେଖିକି ସକାରାତ୍ମକ ଦିଗରେ ଯଦି ଆମେ ଯେଉଁ ଆଞ୍ଚଳିକ ଦଳ ସବୁ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ କରିବେ ତାହେଲେ regional imbalance ସୃଷ୍ଟି ହେବନି. All these steps and some special economic packages and development plans for some less developed states can enable us to overcome the challenges. Anyway, so with this, in the concluding point of this regional imbalances, this topic, we'll see the something more. The new economic reforms have seen the federal government withdrawing from its role of regulation of the political economy development under the structural adjustment program at the behest of the World Trade Organization. The center has been unable to give liberal grants to the different regions, especially the poor ones. It is also creating imbalances. Thus, the regions have been competing against each other for domestic and foreign direct investment. I mean again, the regions with the developed infrastructure have been able to attract far greater investment than the regions with poor infrastructure. This has further widened the gap between the rich and the poor regions, raising the prospect of the regional tension. So for which the government is responsible. Anyway, in this unit, what we learn, now we'll conclude. The regionalism is not a secessionist. Eta vichinnatabaad katha nahi. But many becomes so if it is not handled properly. Thus, regional imbalances has to be addressed properly and cannot be left to the market forces that are exclusionary in nature and therefore detrimental to the interest of the peripheral regions. So, on a positive way, the existence of so many different forms of identity in India has been a positive factor in the sense that it is prevented regional conflicts from being concentrated along one particular fault line, as has been the case with the federal democracy of Canada and Australia. So, my dear friends, so with this, I am going to end this session, counseling session, the MPS-3 part 2 of one third. That means the first part of book 2. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in the unit Gender and Development, there is a question that is, has development been anti-women? So could you please describe about that?
Again.
Has development been anti-women?
Self-development. Self-development.
No. Has development been anti-women? Has development.
Health development. About just I am just.
No, sir. Has development
Has development
been anti-women?
What happened?
Sir, I could not understand.
Yes. Has development and anti-woman. This was the concept on the very. It was very earlier. It was earlier that anti-woman development. Anti-woman development was there, but gender development, that theory or approach, it is given scope. It is given scope to the women development. But it was earlier, not today. There is so many programs for the liberation of women and empowerment of women. But there is no such a program for that anti-women development. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Sir, now I am going to stop presenting.
Hello,
Okay.
sir.
All the students.
Hello.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Dear learners, do you have any doubt?
They have already. Yes.